Okay, picture this. You've got a houseplant you absolutely adore, right? But lately, it's looking like it desperately needs a new home. Maybe it's practically overflowing its pot, or maybe it's just completely stopped growing, and you know you've got to step in. But let's be real for a second. Repotting can be super intimidating. Well, we're going to change that today. In this explainer, we're going to completely demystify the step-by-step process of repotting a houseplant without killing it, turning it from a dreaded chore into a really satisfying, simple routine. So, are you terrified of repotting? If so, you are definitely not alone. Honestly, moving a beloved plant can feel incredibly risky. We all get that creeping anxiety, like what if I accidentally snap the roots? Or what if the plant goes into total shock and I end up killing the very thing I'm trying to save? It's completely normal to feel that way, because to us it looks like this violent disruption to the plant's life. But I want you to shift your perspective entirely. I absolutely love this analogy because it instantly lowers the stakes. Repotting feels like major surgery, but it's actually much more like giving your plant a new, comfortable pair of shoes. Think about it. When your feet are crammed into shoes that are 2 sizes too small, you can't walk, you can't grow, and you're just miserable. Well, plants are the exact same way. Moving them to a proper vessel is actually one of the absolute best things you can do for their long-term health and vitality. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, signs it's time. Second, the step-by-step guide. And third, plant aftercare and recovery.
Part 1. Signs it's time. Basically, when to upgrade your plant's home.
You know, houseplants are actually pretty terrible at hiding their discomfort. They'll tell you when they need an upgrade, and spring is typically the prime time they start sending out these little SOS signals. There are 3 telltale clues you really need to look out for. The first one is the most dramatic. Roots are literally escaping. If you lift your plant up and see roots actively growing out of the drainage holes at the bottom, yeah, they are desperately searching for more space. The second sign is that the plant is root-bound, which we'll define in just a second. And the third sign is a complete halt in growth. If it's the spring or summer growing season and your plant hasn't pushed out a single new leaf or stem in months, it's likely exhausted both the nutrients and the physical space in its current pot.
Let's look a bit closer at that second sign. What does it actually mean to be root-bound? To check for this, you just gently slide the plant out of its current pot. If you look at the bottom and sides and see way more roots than soil, specifically if it's this tight, dense, almost brick-like mass of tangled roots, your plant is officially root-bound. It is literally suffocating in there, and it is definitely time for a repot.
Part 2. The step-by-step guide. Time for getting your hands dirty.
Now, before we begin the core operation, make sure you set up on a surface you can easily clean up, like an outdoor patio, a tarp, or maybe over a large sink, because you are absolutely going to spill some soil. Step 1 is choosing the right pot, and there's a golden rule here, 1 to 2. You should only ever select a new pot that is 1 to 2 inches larger in diameter than the current one. I know, it's incredibly tempting to just pop a small plant into a massive pot so you don't have to repot it again for years, but going too big is a massive and super common mistake.
So the crucial point here is understanding exactly why a massive pot is so dangerous. A pot that's too large for the plant's root system holds way too much soil. And that excess soil acts like a giant sponge, staying wet for far too long, which quickly leads to root rot, and that's basically a death sentence for most houseplants. Stick to the 1 to 2 inch rule. And please, firmly remind yourself, the new pot absolutely must have drainage holes, literally no exceptions.
Alright, here's a high-level look at our simple 4-step process. We just covered step 1, choose the right pot. Next, we remove the plant. Then, we loosen the roots. And finally, we repot and water. When you break the whole shebang down into these 4 actionable steps, you can see just how easy and straightforward this operation really is.
Let's focus on step 2, removing the plant. The key word here is gentle. Turn the plant sideways, support the stems gently with your hand, and tap the bottom of the pot until the plant slides out. If your plant is being stubborn and refusing to budge, whatever you do, don't yank it by the stems. Instead, simply squeeze the sides of the plastic nursery pot, or carefully run a blunt butter knife around the inside edge just to loosen up the soil.
Now for step 3, loosening the roots. If your plant was root-bound, this step is absolutely vital. You need to encourage those roots to stop growing in a circle and start growing outward into their fresh new soil. To do this, gently massage the root ball with your fingers to loosen the tangled roots. If they're heavily coiled and fused together at the bottom, don't panic. Seriously, it's completely okay to physically untangle them, or even make a few vertical, shallow cuts with a clean knife to break the tension. Finally, step 4 is our assembly, and here's your quick checklist. First, add a base layer of fresh potting mix to the new pot. Second, set your loosened root ball inside. making sure the top of the root ball sits about 1 inch below the rim of the pot so water doesn't overflow later on. Third, fill in the empty space around the sides with fresh mix, gently patting it down. And fourth, water thoroughly. You want to water until it actively runs out those drainage holes. And this isn't just to give the plant a drink, it's absolutely crucial for helping the new soil settle snugly around the roots, eliminating any large, dangerous air pockets.
Part 3. Plant aftercare and recovery, helping your plant settle in.
All right, we've successfully repotted. But even though we were gentle, the plant just went through a really big structural change. It needs some specific TLC to settle into its new environment without, throwing a fit. Let's walk through the 4 critical aftercare rules. First, put it back in the exact same light conditions it enjoyed before. Don't add the stress of a new location on top of a new pot. Second, consider bottom watering for the first few weeks to ensure even moisture and help that root system establish itself downwards. Third, expect a little drama from your plant. And fourth, definitely hold off on the fertilizer.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the drama we just mentioned actually has an official name: transplant shock. If your plant looks a little droopy, wilted, or even drops a lower leaf or two in the week following a repot, do not panic. This is a completely normal biological response to having its roots disturbed. You didn't fail. Preemptively manage your expectations, stay patient, and just let the plant recover on its own timeline.
And finally, let's look at the logic behind that last aftercare rule: holding off on the plant food. You actually need to wait 4 to 6 weeks before resuming your normal fertilizing routine. Why? Well, because that brand new, fresh potting soil you just packed in there is already loaded with fresh nutrients. If you add liquid fertilizer on top of that, you can accidentally burn the roots and overfeed your freshly potted, recovering plant.
And there you have it. You now have the exact skills, the golden rules, and the confidence to properly upgrade your plants without any fear. But now that your plants are settling into their roomy new homes and gearing up for an absolute explosion of healthy growth, it begs a rather exciting question. Once they start thriving, are you ready to multiply them? Because taking healthy cuttings and learning the magic of plant propagation just might have to be your very next houseplant adventure.